Good day! I'll be reviewing the Senkou No Night Raid. Blurb. The story is set in Shanghai in 1931, where the Imperial Japanese Army has been dispatched to mainland China due to the relatively recent First Sino War and Russo-Japanese War, and World War One. Whoa. In this cosmopolitan city, there is a special military spy organization called Sakurai Kyukan that has since been buried in history. So, before I get into this review, today I'm drinking plum wine, appropriate to the review. It's Japanese or something. It's very sweet with a perfect bite. Best served chilled. Check it out. This show is not too well known. Released around the 2010, a history piece, slight of life. 13 episodes. It feels a bit rushed and it's definitely a cheaper show, but decent animation, acting, music, whatnot. The music, I'll add, is very appropriately added to the time of the series, which is 1931, so it's a lot of classical Western influence. An interesting thing of the language of the acting is, even though most of these animes are in Japanese, when appropriate they use a Chinese language with a Japanese subtitle. But this show has never been dubbed in English, which is alright by me. You can read the whole thing in subtitles. A bit tricky to get your hands on. Getting into the story, first 7 episodes is slice of life genre. You see the characters in peacetime in Shanghai, China, and they're interacting with the locals and they're doing things like helping a restaurant take photos of food and looking for bombs in the department store to stop a pre-war terrorist attack, looking for a cat to get something, but it's not bad. You're seeing a bit of a piece of history in another town. Though a lot of people don't like this. They want the constant action, so fuck them. From episode 8 to 13 is the Manchurian Incidents. This is a bit of history. This is an action that Japan did to the Chinese. Now, I have to say, this anime is absolutely fucking ballsy. Japan likes to, you know, with their history and the shit they've done in past, bury all that, and it's not really taught in schools and whatnot. So, you know, some countries can get away with bloody atrocities and never get caught up. This show addresses this, but I feel that it's riding on the tailcoats of it. It's trying to get all of its popularity and get out there only using this incident and this part of history and not really focusing a lot on other things. So, during this incident, you see a council of Asian heads come together trying to free from the oppression of English colony rule or other Western country influence like America, and their thoughts on Japan, which was interesting. They were portrayed as the bad guys, which is quite weird. They don't like to see themselves like that. Secondly, it leads, you see the actions and thoughts leading to the Second World War. Japan's getting their thoughts together, you know, can they attack the US? And the answer, of course, they came up was no. But if they get a certain amount of power, they will, but it doesn't happen. Now, getting into the Manchurian Incidents, it's when Japan bombed a small section of their rail in North China. So they were industrializing the area to mine minerals to build stuff for their war effort for the Second World War. They blame this on the Chinese so they can increase their territory. This is up to you to believe it or not. It's a bit of history, but as you all know, history can be manipulated and written by the winners. The show can be hard to follow, so what I did before I watched it is I did a bit of research on Chinese history from the 1920s to after Mao's revolution, and that became a lot easier. But if you don't do that, the show's going to be an absolute clusterfuck for you. The characters are a bit on the bland side, and this is the biggest one. They have superpowers, and you're all going to be thinking, whoa, fuck that. But they sort of dumb it down a bit, and it's sort of like basic psychic powers. They can read each other's minds, deflect bullets, you know, nothing you'd see in a bloody Marvel comic. They're not too incredibly interesting, so until some of the action bits start coming, it might be a bit slow to follow, but fairly interesting. The twist at the end of the series is very interesting, and once at the end, I was fairly satisfied. In conclusion, I enjoyed this. That is because I'm a history buff. I have very little knowledge of Asian history. As Westerners, we definitely need to get an understanding if we are to watch this show, but I doubt in the far future, this being out for a couple of years now, it's never going to get popular. So if this is any of these topics has piqued your interest, check it out. If you're not into that sort of stuff, fuck it. Thank you for watching, guys.